Hear me? I'm here in my studio in Covington, Texas, small town
Covington,
Texas.
If you can hear Janee and me, type a Y, please, in the chat so we know you can hear us and we don't have any sound issues. And if you can see us, okay, type a Y. Type 2 Ys. If I only see one Y, it means you can't see us or you can't hear us, one or the other. We reinvent this procedure each time, don't we? Janee, you got your air conditioner fixed. Huh? What's that?
I did.
Everything's cool. You're cool.
Should I be seeing when they type?
Well,
okay,
yes, I'm going to give you
they type.
Yeah, I'm going to give you. No, you can't see, but I'm going to give you the link to the watch page right now, so you'll have it. And I'm also going to be monitoring this for questions for you. I'll put this up in in our little chat room in the control room. All right, you'll have to open that on when you click that, it'll open another browser window, and the YouTube watch page will be up, but you might want to just click your speakers off on the YouTube watch page so you don't have double echo effect. Does that make sense? So you can just
yes, but
okay. You see the link there?
It hasn't loaded yet.
While Janee is getting.
In fact, I don't. Oh yeah, I got the link.
Okay, just click it and it should open up in a separate browser window, and then just go to the YouTube page and you'll see the chat box, I think, and you'll be able to see their questions.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. What's good about these Google Hangouts is that every critique we do is also an education on the computer and YouTube, isn't it? So we should all be experts on Google Hangouts, by the time this semester's over. So while everybody's getting settled in, I wanted to, and before we introduce Janee, I wanted to remind you of the things we've got coming up this summer. It's kind of a busy schedule. Of course, Janee is today, and we'll send the video replay link out in the morning. And then in July, we've got actually 2 programs coming at you. So, of course, you'll get emails about it. And you've already gotten some. And the assignments have already been mailed to you, but I'll remail them after today's session with Janee. You might get those tomorrow or over the weekend again. And so on Monday, July 17th at 2 p.m., we've got an art rep, Melissa Turk, who has the Artists Network agency, and she has been repping children's decades, and she's got a lot to share with us and a real nice program. I've already been given a sneak preview of her program, and it's really full of good stuff. And then Q&A, and she'll be looking at your work, and she has given us an assignment already. So, and I know some of you are already working on that assignment. So that will be on Monday, 1 p.m. afternoon, like this one, on July 17th 2 p.m. 2 p.m. our time in in Texas, so Central Time, 2 p.m. Then on the 27th of July, which is a Thursday, we've got the great illustrator Kelly Light, and she has given us an assignment already as well. So we'll be sending more information out. Kelly will be talking to us and critiquing your work at 7 p.m. on Thursday, July 27th. Okay. And then in August, on the morning of Wednesday morning, August 23rd, we've got Kristen Noble, who is the children's publisher, head of the children's division at the newly founded Page Street Publishing. And Kristen, as many of you know, was the art director at Candlewick, senior art director at Candlewick Publishing for many, many years. And then before that, she was the art director at Chronicle Books. So, so lots of fun stuff coming up. So now I want to tell you a little bit about Janee. And I'm going to put her up while I read just a little bit of this introduction. Janee is a gifted storyteller, author, illustrator, and an artist, author, illustrator of board books and picture books for the very young. Her latest, Mimi and Bear Make a Friend, the second, is it a board book, Janee, or a picture book? It's a picture book, isn't it?
Oh, picture book.
Picture book.
Yeah.
In her Mimi and Bear series, came out last month from Farrar, Straus, and Giroux. So it came out in May, and we'll be showing you a picture of it in a minute. In addition to being the creator of the Mimi and Bear series and the Chickies series and the Caveman series of picture books and board books, Janee is a skilled singer, musician, and puppeteer who loves to make kids laugh. She lives in Grapevine near Dallas, Texas with her husband, John, 2 guinea pigs, a pack of puppies, and a big pile of puppets. And she knows children's publishing very, very well. We're really privileged to have her with us today. I want to read one line from a Publishers Weekly review of her first Mimi and Bear book. Let's see, what was the title of that one again? Mimi and Bear in the Snow. And this is what they said about Janie's artwork. And I'm not even telling you what they said about her writing and the picture book overall. The Publishers Weekly said the softly textured, substantial shapes of Trasler's illustrations reinforce the subtle emotional narrative. Just like Mimi, the pictures have a plain-spoken eloquence and an intriguing dimensionality. So those are nice words and very fitting. Her art is beautiful. Her illustrations are beautiful. I'm going to make sure that everybody can see and hear. I'm going to look for those yeses now, and then we're going to bring Janee on. Yes, lots of double yeses, so you can hear. If you have trouble hearing, or if we start to go too soft, too low spoken, let me know in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat while Janee is talking at us. Okay, Janee, we are ready.
Okay, let me flip around. I was typing already to people. Okay, I'm just going to screen right away. Okay. I forgot how to do that. There it is.
To share the screen,
share.
You're going to go up to the little green arrow at the very top left of your Hangout screen. Click it once. It's a toggle.
I got it.
Got it. And speak loudly, Janee, if you can.
And I'm going to start the slideshow. Okay, can you see this?
Yeah. Can you guys see it okay? I can see it.
Let me move this thing because it's right in the way. Okay. All right. So we're just going to start, if it'll listen to me here.
Okay.
These are some of my books. Obviously, I'm a little behind. I don't have 3 of my newest ones on there. These are just the book and illustrated, because I've also illustrated quite a few markets that I did not write.
Okay, we're not seeing them yet,
so
Janee.
here's all
my, there might be a little delay. Not
what
yet.
What are you seeing?
I'm seeing your title page, picture book illustration.
Oh, okay. Let me go back to them because I went a little soon then, I think.
Okay.
Oops, it moved. Okay, so you see those?
Not seeing them yet.
Mark?
No.
Okay, well that's very odd.
Let's see. Do you want to?
So you're still just seeing the title page?
Let me check the YouTube.
Let me try again.
Okay.
Let me try again. Let me go back there and stop the sharing, and I'll start.
Okay.
All right. Are you seeing me again?
No, you'll have to click the toggle. There, now I am seeing you. Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do the screen share again. I'll just do my entire screen rather than application window. Maybe that threw it.
Can you do that? That'd be great.
Okay. Now, yeah, and see. Let me start the slideshow again. Okay. What are you seeing?
Full screen.
Are you seeing the titles page yet?
I'm seeing the title page. Yes, you're up with that.
Okay, now do you see the books?
Not yet. Not yet.
This is going to be difficult.
Wonder why but it's clicking at your end. It's changing over at your end. Oh, there we go. There we go. You're up, Janee. The books, the covers are up.
Oh, it's very slow. Okay, it's very, very slow. Right. These are just some of my books. As I said, there's also some that I illustrated that that I didn't write, and I don't have those represented here, as well as 3 new ones, including the Mimi and Bear that we talked about there. So just let me know when it catches up. I've moved on to the next slide.
My Writing Life, we're seeing it.
I'll start reading it to you. Yes, okay. I illustrated, this is a little behind too, over 30 books. It's really more than that now. 12 as an author, presented by Jamie Weiss Chilton, and she is just fantastic. I just love her. I'm on the board at the Grapevine Library, and I sing, I play the auto harp, I play the mandolin very badly, and I make and perform puppets. And I'm in a really, really great critique group called the PBGBs. I formed it myself. I'd had some not so good experiences with critique groups, and so if you go and look up my name on the internet and look up critique groups, there's an article out there about how I started the group, so y'all can read that. And the other members are Kim Norman, Tammy Sauer, and Jessica Young. And since we've joined forces in 2011, we've sold over 55 books.
Whoa, whoa! So, that's not a testimonial for the right.
Whoa, that's not a testimonial for the right. Yeah, yeah, and that's what it is. It's finding the right one. And I'm just going to show you some screenshots of my work. You let me know when you see it, Mark.
I do see it, Janee, right now.
I do see it. All right, I'm just going to kind of slowly flip through them, give y'all time to catch up.
No, we're seeing them.
It's difficult when I can't see what you're seeing. Okay. Oh, so they're keeping up with me?
Yeah, let me make sure.
Okay, because that was Mimi and Bear right there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It is way behind. Now there's Mimi and Bear. They're Mimi in the snow.
Very,
Mimi
very
in the
behind.
snow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Bear's there too. Okay, I'm going to flip to the next one.
Yes,
next one is
Bear's there
Caveman.
too.
And Caveman ABC story. I had wanted to do an alphabet book, but I wanted to do it differently. And so as far as I know, I'm the first person who's done that. There's been a couple since I did this, but I used one single word for each letter of the alphabet, but it tells a story. If you go through it, the word, each word, the 26 words and the pictures actually tell a story. Anyway, are you on to the next Caveman with the
Yes,
quiet?
yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and these are just various illustrations here. You seeing a little Bobby policeman?
Yes.
Okay. These are some of my puppets that I made, and I actually went to puppet boot camp at Purdue University one year to learn how to make puppets. So.
Oh, if that's not worth a blog post somewhere, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's the magic pickle right there in the middle. So, and the sheep over there is actually the sheep from my Chickies books. So, I make puppets for all the characters in the Chickies books. Okay, I'm just gonna cut my process.
Great.
Get a brilliant idea. Decide that I am a genius. Jot down a few notes. Let idea brew. Critique way too early in the process. Decide that I am not a genius. Decide, in fact, that I suck. Stuff notes in deepest, darkest corners. Get sudden inspiration while washing dishes. pull notes out of drawer, reread notes, decide that I am a genius after all. Jot down new inspiration, make storyboard, revise storyboard 42 times, write first draft, send to critique group, wait for them to confirm genius, get feedback from critique group, decide that critique group doesn't know what they're talking about, stew, decide that critique group is genius after all, revise, send to agent, and wait for her to confirm genius. Okay.
Hey,
I
wait
thought
a
I'd
minute.
actually show you some
it's
of
all
my
about
process. You can
it's all about being a genius, in other words.
Well, yeah, or thinking you are. Okay, so have we caught up? Are you seeing little storyboard?
It just came up. Yes. Yes, there's your storyboard.
This is kind of, I know some of this is writing, but it applies to illustration as well. When I get an idea, like how many pages I have, I know how many spreads I have, so I go in and I just jot down little notes of what's going to happen on each spread, and then I draw little thumbnails of what's going to happen on each spread, and not a blank page, but one that is to the right side. And what I do is I put the dark blue line on the outside. That's the actual dimension of the spread. The rest of the white around that is a bleed, okay? And then the dark blue line down the middle represents the gutter, and the light blue lines that go to either side of that, I give myself a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch on either side to remember, don't put anything important there because that might get swallowed up by the gutter. So this is how I start an illustration when I've moved from thumbnail. Then I do something that I call blob sketches, and no one but me could read these sketches. Let me know when you're caught up, Mark.
Okay.
Are you seeing a blobby sketch?
Not quite yet. I'm seeing your blank page with the lines on it. Your non-empty page. Now your blobs are up.
Yeah.
Blobs
so this is how I start from there. Yes, this is how I start, with a blobby sketch, so that I'm not married to anything. I can move it around. I don't feel as if I've lost anything I have to change. I'm going to show you another one from a Mimi page. See the one of Mimi?
Not yet, but while we're waiting for it, to clarify, you're doing this on a tablet or on your computer. Is that right? These are all.
I do pretty much everything digitally. I mean, everything. I mean, not my fun stuff for just myself, but for illustration work, I do, because it's just so much easier to make changes, and I can work anywhere. Yeah. So
yes.
Are you on the Mimi one? Okay. Then from there, I moved to a rough sketch. Then I moved to a rough sketch. Let me know when you see that.
Okay. Okay.
You see that?
Not yet, but it looks like you're putting text lines, little blocks, little text blocks in there as well. Is that right? Am I reading?
I do.
Okay.
Yes. I like to design around the text. Is really important to me, so I want to know where it's going. Okay, so there's the rough sketch.
Yes.
Okay, and then I move on to a tighter sketch. And when you see this tighter sketch, when it comes up, this will be the quality. This is about how in depth I go for a dummy. If I'm going to send a dummy to my agent or to an editor. If it's a new, if I know I'm sending it to a new editor I've never sent to before, I might tighter than this. But, with Mimi, I'd already worked with the editor, and, on my Chickies books, I'd already worked with the editor. So this is about the level that I take my sketches to. And one of the things that's nice for me being in a critique group with writers who don't illustrate their own books is I get to see a ton of other illustrators' works in the sketch stage, and I get to see what other people turn in, and it's very, very varied across the board. There are some that it's like my finished artwork isn't that tight, you know.
Wow.
But and there's some that are so loose that they're close to my blob sketches. So
they bring in,
and then I'm going to show you the finished.
They bring in their dummies, Janee, and you see the illustrations by other people in the dummies.
Well, yeah, they'll show. Yeah, they'll say, "Ooh, I got the sketches. I got the first batch of sketches. Do you want to see?" And it's like, "Of course we do."
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So, and then here's the finished piece for that one. If you're seeing it yet.
Well, yes, we're seeing it now.
Are you seeing the color?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And then now I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to confess right up front to you that the next few slides I've taken from my presentation that I give to pre-kindergarten and kindergartners, but it still matters. It still counts. So don't be offended.
We won't be.
I'm just going to show you some. Okay, I'm just going to show you some different ways that illustrations can work. And the first one is they can just simply illustrate what the text says. So if the text says, Spot found a big ball, there's a picture of Spot, and there's a ball, okay? So that's just simply illustrating what the text said. Okay, the other thing that they can just exaggerate the text. So if I say Spot found a big ball, you can see a picture of Spot, and you can see a ball that takes up half the page. You know, it can exaggerate. So if they say, you know, she was running fast, and you just see the zip across the page. You know, the illustrations can exaggerate what the text says. Also, tell more of the story than the text is actually telling. In fact, a lot of times you'll see illustrations that tell a kind of a little parallel story. Like the text might not say anything about the girl's cat. I noticed that in some of the Cinderella drawings that you people uploaded. That like there was a cat who wasn't actually in the text, and it's like that's fantastic. The more you can add, gives it depth, the better. It gives it another layer. The other thing they can do, and some of you got the creative brief that did this, they can tell a different story. They can tell a story that belies what the text says. It can change it and even to the point of making it a very unreliable narrator. You know, so like this one, I don't know if you can see it yet, but Spot, and it says Spot found a big ball, but the ball is actually a little alligator egg. Are you up with that?
Yep.
Are you up with that?
We're seeing it. We sure are.
Okay. Okay. So the things, this is what I like. This is the way picture books seem to be. They're like little movies. And if you think about the movies you've seen, you think about they use all the control they have over how we view the movie. They can change the lighting. They can change the set design. They can change the camera angle, the perspective of the camera, you know, the view we're seeing, the way they crop the shot, the pacing and the timing and the action, and actually the actors too. They control how we view the movie. And we have that same ability. Now, if you really, really think about the movies, think about some you've seen where it's like the image is very dark, it's very shadowy. Well, that immediately adds tension. Well, you can use that in a picture book, you know. If it's bright and colorful, that usually represents happy. You can use that in a picture book. If you have like an extreme close-up, you're not going to waste that extreme close-up in a movie unless they're trying to show you an emotional scene. If it's a wide angle shot and you see a whole bunch, that's going to be used more for action. You wouldn't do a close-up if you're trying to show a guy running in a race. And we can use these same things when we're doing picture books. And set design also gives a sense of time, the time period and the mood, like if it's in the atmosphere, if it's in a place where there's a lot of creepy herbs and eyeballs on the shelves, that's gonna set the mood pretty fast. Okay, so let's talk about us being the director when we illustrate the book. Composition and page layout, boy, those are our strongest tools. They let us move the reader through the story. They let us pace the story. Like if we want them to hurry and turn the page, we can draw everything so that it moves that eye, the line, the shape, the movement, everything can move your eye over there to the edge of the page so you want to turn it. But if you want to slow them down, if you're actually at a part of your story where you kind of want them to slow down and take a minute and wait for the next part, because remember, you're in charge of the pacing, then move their eye away. And I think I have some examples here. Okay, this is just showing, can you tell which side this is leaning to? Can you tell where your eye's being drawn? Because we have the large character here on the left and the small character on the right, where our eyes are going to the right. So that would kind of move us that direction. If you move it the other way, do you see how just doing that automatically moves your eye in the other direction? You're probably not there yet, so I'll wait.
No, it's up. It's up.
If we flip, okay, going the other way.
Oh no, going to the right.
Okay. Yeah. See,
now we're seeing the other.
Flips it.
Just came up.
Yeah, and you can see how your eye is now moving to the other direction. So if you wanted to slow things down, you could have things kind of moving that direction. I'm going to show you an example from a book, and this is The Recess Queen, and the illustrator is Laura Haliska Beath, and she's just one of my favorite illustrators. I just love her. And this is an example, just like I just showed you, where you see one character very large on the left and little characters on the right, and even the trees are leaning you in that direction.
Yes.
Tell me when you see that, Mark.
It's up. Yeah, it's up.
Okay. You see how even the trees are moving in that direction?
Yeah, yeah.
The little girl's hair, the ponytail. In fact, it's even cropping off the page. So it's really saying, turn the page, turn the page. Okay? I'm going to turn and wait for you. The thing that we can do as illustrators is we can choose how quickly they read the text, like on a single spread. Tell me when David Shannon's Good Boy Fergus spread comes up, Mark.
Dinner time. What's the problem?
Okay, so the way he has that done, we're automatically pacing as we're saying, dinner time. And what's the problem? Better, better. You see, because of the way the text is laid out on the page, that's why you really have to pay attention to where your text is going to go. And the fact that we have the 3 illustrations, it's really drawing us, and it's also drawing us to the right, so we know which way to read, not just because we always read from left to right, but because the way the whipped cream can is going, the way Fergus's tail is going, everything is moving us. Now let me know when you see Eric Roman's My Friend Rabbit spread.
Okay.
You see it yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Everybody hearing and seeing okay? Okay, there it is. There's Eric Roman's.
Okay. Now, I actually heard Eric Roman won the Caldecott for this book. This is My Friend Rabbit.
Right.
And I heard him speak at the Mazza Summer Institute about this book. And on this particular spread, if you see how the large animals kind of pushing, the little rabbits pushing the other way, and it's like, it's everything is pushing in towards the middle. That's to slow you down. He said, absolutely. His whole goal was to slow you down there. And so that is just shows you the ability of the illustrator. And the next pages that when it comes up is from the same book, and it's turned sideways. And when you get there, you'll see that he actually did the spread, so you had to turn the book. So talk about slowing you down.
Yeah.
But he did say he thought about making it where you actually had to then turn the book, flip it over to read the rest of it. But then he realized, and this is very important, what he said, is that I would be taking the reader out of the book with that experience. And that's not what you want to do. You don't want anything that's going to jar the reader out of the book. You want them to stay involved in the story. And so he let that go. Even though he really wanted to do it, he let it go. And that's what you need to do. You need to think of the reader.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Another thing that we can do with illustrations is we can lead with line. Your eyes are just naturally going to follow lines, and you can use this to your advantage. And when I say lines, I don't necessarily mean a drawn line. It can be an implied line. You know, if you just even had negative space amongst a bunch of clutter, that's a line. That implies a line. Now, what you want to be careful to do when you're using lines is you want to make sure they lead your reader where you want them to go. Be very careful about lines that's something unimportant. And one thing that happens in an illustration sometimes, if you're not careful, is you get two things just touching. They just kiss each other. And I'm sure Mark has talked about this. It's called tangents. And you can have a tangent, but if you do, you want it to lead to something really important in your story. I mean, you know, in the spread. And it's better if you can to go ahead and either separate them or overlap them rather than things just touching, because that touching creates a tension that draws your eye to it immediately. And if you're going to do that, make sure it's important, but your best bet is to just avoid tangents. And I'm afraid we might have a couple of examples of those in our Cinderella things, but we won't talk about them too loudly. Okay. Intersecting or implied intersection of diagonal lines. When diagonal lines start going towards each other, that draws your eye. So you want to make sure what's there at the end of that is important too. You know, you don't want it to be just a throwaway part of your illustration. You want it to be important. Okay, we're going to see another illustration from Eric Roman's My Friend Rabbit, and this one is a definite line. I mean, it's not implied. It is an actual definite line. And it's a technique that is used widely.
Yeah.
You see that one, Mark?
Yep, it's up.
The other thing about this one that's really nice about this one is the perspective on this. We're going to talk about varying the camera angle in a little bit, but this is a really good example of that, I think. It's sort of a bird's eye view, but not directly overhead, and it's a nice shot. And because of the airplane up in the front, it gives a point of interest that's nice. The next thing that's going to come up is, again, Laura Haliska Beat from The Recess Queen, and this one has a line too. But this line, rather than lead you off the page anywhere, is leading you around the illustration so you don't miss any part of it. I mean, it just takes you all throughout the illustration, and you just weave through it. And that kind of slows you down too. And one thing that's nice about that, especially, is this page has quite a bit of text on it. So while the reader is reading the text, the listener has something to look at. There's something for the listener to do as the reader is reading a fairly sizable chunk of text in the world of picture books today.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that's going to come after that is also Laura Haliska Beat from The Recess Queen. And this one is using an actual line, and it's actually using more than one line. And the other thing that it does is got some great cropping. I mean, she cropped this just so beautifully. It's just like you just want to turn the page, and it adds humor. And so this is just really this is really excellent. Another thing I want to point out about her illustrations are look at how little setting she uses. I mean, there's nothing that really grounds her characters, but you know exactly what's going on. I always found that very interesting about her. Next one that's going to come up is the next one is going to be Wolf in the Snow. It's a pretty new title, and it's an example of the intersecting or implied intersecting diagonal lines, and you'll see how they really lead your eye to where they're supposed to go. He also used color to do that, because the place where your eye is supposed to go, it's the only thing that's not green, gray, black, or blue on the whole page. Are you up with me on that, Mark?
Yep, we're seeing it. Yes.
And speaking of the color, the next thing we're going to talk about is setting the mood. And you can use color. You know, you have the old, it was a dark and stormy night. Well, you don't have to say that. You can show it. And composition can also help you set the mood and tell the emotion of the scene. You know, if you have this little, like you show your character very small in this, just all alone in this giant scene, you're going to feel that character feels alone. You're going to feel that they feel overwhelmed and small. As opposed to a close-up of a character, you know, if you're trying to show your character alone and lonely, you're not going to show him taking up the whole spread. You won't have him bleeding off the spread. You'll have him very small. So you can use that to set the mood. And I'm going to show you an example of that. This is I never know how to say his name. John Agee. Do you know how to say it, Mark?
Agee. No, I don't actually. But
Agee. I love his illustrations anyway, but in his books.
Yeah.
But the example on the little guy on Mars, it's Life on Mars, and it's got so much great stuff going on, because it's got the line that leads you. It shows you how he's just so tiny and all alone on this gigantic planet, and he's lost, and you can tell because he's wandering, he's meandering. And the other thing is, it's very bleak. The color palette is very, very bleak. So that's how. And then the one we're going to show after that will be another one from Matthew Cordell's Wolf in the Snow. And again, it's showing how the composition, how she's just, you know, little out there, and she's got so far to go, and she's walked so far already. So again, that's a composition. And again, a diagonal line that's leading you right to the page turn. It's like he wants you to turn the page. And then after that, I'm going to show you another one from Matthew Cordell's Wolf in the Snow, because this is showing how color and composition can show you the exact opposite feeling. It can set the mood exactly opposite from the one we just saw.
Right.
So let me know when you see that. Do you see that one, Mark, where they're little family?
Window. Yes.
Yeah. And see, she's all close together with her family. We're on the outside. She's in there all cozy and warm. And do you see the warm tones that are used?
Oh yeah.
They use that mood. You know, we had cool tones throughout the book until she's back home warm and cozy with her family. We have all those warm tones. Okay, so as we're being the director here, another thing we should watch for is to vary the camera angle and the position of the camera. And it doesn't have to be drastic. It doesn't have to be that bird's eye view or that extreme foreshortening that you see sometimes. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be very subtle. A close-up, a wide angle, lowering or raising the horizon, or showing the back of your character's head when it's in a group scene. I mean, that's, you know, having the camera not looking straight on at your character. And we have an example of that in our Cinderella sketches as well. So I was very happy to see that. Whoever it is should be happy. Okay. Another thing we can do is we can break a pattern. If you have a spread and it's got or it's just very symmetrical, everything's the same, when you break that pattern, you just like, you draw the eye there immediately. I mean, that's where you're going, because it's like all the other just kind of blurs into one, and then there's this one that just pops off the page. So you can use that. And I'm going to show you an example from David Shannon's Good Boy Fergus here. And you let me know when we get there.
Okay. There it is.
Okay, see, we have Fergus looking in, he's in exactly the same position in 3. Don't beg, Fergus. He just sits there. And then the last one. Oh, all right, good boy, Fergus. And you see how that just draws your eye, because the other ones, they're just all the same, you know?
Yeah.
And so but I'm going to show you another one. And this one is in the text as well, but because it's in the text, it's in the illustration, and it's just a beautiful. This is what is the illustration name? He won a Caldecott for the Market Street, but Chris Robinson, is that his name? I think. No. Chris Robinson. I don't know. It's on my Kindle, so I can't even look at the book to tell you. So this one on the left, you see, good, well done, very nice. Nice try. So they're all being neat. You see the illustration, neat, no, not so neat. And then on the next page, you have the little yip, and the rough. So you're getting that one that's breaking the pattern, and that works in illustration just as well as in writing. It's an excellent tool.
Oh, okay. Sandy says it's Christopher
We talked
Robinson.
A little bit about
Christopher Robinson.
Robinson.
Thanks, Sandy.
Which isn't that the name of the? Is that the name of the? Oh, that just sounds. Isn't that like somebody from a book or something? Anyway, okay. We've seen some of this examples of this already. Cropping, crop wisely. You know, you don't have to have everything 100% on the page. Let things bleed off the page. It makes it more interesting. It draws the eye, and it's how we actually see life. Like if you look in front of you and you're seeing peripheral vision to the side, you don't see your entire desk or your entire bed or wherever you happen to be. It's cut off, because that's how vision is going beyond the page. So show that, and you can use that to help come to a page turn. We saw that on that Laura Haliska Beath one, where the girl was flying up off the teeter-totter and the little boy was running off the page. Okay, this is a pet peeve for me. Don't crop at a joint. Don't crop at an elbow or a knee or a wrist. Just go a little above it or a little below it. It's like it's awkward. It feels, it creates an uncomfortable sense in the viewer when something's cropped at a joint. And I don't know why, but it's the same in photography, illustration, movies. It's just, it's uncomfortable. And remember, when we talk about line, remember that the edge of your page, the trim of your page, that is a line as well. So you want to make sure that things don't just touch the page. You want them to crop, or you want them to be inside, because that too will draw your eye if there's a tangent, if something's kissing it. Okay, the next illustration is I'm just showing the crop of, because this is just a crazy cropping job that David Shannon did on Fergus here.
That is the crop. Huh?
I mean, but look, yeah, look at it. But between, yeah, this is exactly how it is in the book. So between the extra appendages we have from all his movement, we really see this crazy chaotic movement, because he's just chopped off on all 4 sides of the spread. And also, look at how the text also does that. The text is also chaotic, and it's cropping off the page, and it's crooked, and it just shows energy, pure energy. Huh. And it through the pictures. Okay, pictures don't tell the whole story. Okay, sometimes they do. Sometimes you have a wordless picture book, and they do tell the whole story, but leave room for the text. even in your portfolio pieces where you're not having text, put room there, because art directors look for that to see if you've left room for the text, to see if you've thought it through, and don't just stick it anywhere on the page where you have room. Design for it, because it's as important an element on your page as the main character or anything else. And I'm going to actually show you an example from one of my own books on that. And we saw one just a second ago on The Good Boy Fergus with the word cat. It was a very important element on the page. And I'm going to show you from my one of my Chickies books. This is Bedtime for Chickies. And each block of text for me is design. I mean, I don't just do straight lines of text. It's designed. To me, it's just another art element. Are you seeing that, Mark?
Yep, we sure are.
Okay. And then, all right, now we're gonna look at critiques. Okay.
Well, can you give us a?
Let's see.
Would this be a good time, Janee? Would this be a good time for a quick studio tour and then jumping to the critique?
Yeah.
Yeah. I promise them we get.
All right. Let me see if I can.
Workspace. Poor Cinderella.
All right. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. I'm gonna come back to you for a minute.
Okay.
Let's see. I can remember how to do that. Okay. I'm gonna close out that.
That was a wonderful.
And what I'm gonna go ahead and do.
That was a wonderful presentation. That was fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Okay, now because we're having echo issues if I have both of them on at the same time, I'm going to drop out of here for just a minute if I can. I don't know how to do it, Mark.
You're going to go up.
I'll turn my volume way down.
Yeah.
Well, but I don't know how I'll get back in. I just don't know how to turn the microphone off. That's mute.
Can you click out of a screen share?
Hang on, I'm going to count to 10 and I'm going to hit the mute button when I get partway through. Let me know if it works.
Oh, Janee,
1,
can you hear me?
2, yeah. Yes.
Janee?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yes.
I can hear you. Can you get out of screen share first and we'll have your webcam up?
I already did. I already did. Let's see.
I think
it says I'm viewable.
Oh, okay. It's just a delay. You are viewable to me, but not on YouTube yet.
Okay.
Maybe I need to refresh the page. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm going to mute the microphone on the computer. Okay.
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 Yeah. There you are, Janee. You're up. Yeah.
So I'm going to log in. I'm going to get on my
laptop
iPad and then I'm going to mute everything on here.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
I think that'll work. We're using two computers, her iPad and her laptop, so she can show you around real quickly. We realized we needed two computers
to do that. Let me know when you.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Continue.
It's going to take a minute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Hold on. I still hear the echo. Hang on.
That is a funny echo.
Okay, now do you hear the echo?
No.
Is there an echo still?
No.
Okay, good. I think I figured it out.
Okay.
All right. Here's my.
Hold the mic close to you, Janee.
Okay, here's my studio. It's hard to see because it's much bigger than it looks.
And it's on top. It's on top of a big cafe.
Yeah, I'll show that in a minute.
Okay.
That part I haven't fixed yet. That's going to be a little better area. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a big giant crack in my wall. There was a big crack in the plaster. See?
Yep.
See the crack in the plaster? So
we see it.
I made it into a tree. So that's what I did. I turned it into a tree. Okay. So I have this big, let me see if I can give you a sense of scale of this, that work table. It's 20 something feet long, that work
Oh
table.
my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. And then out here, I have a fence up here because I get vertigo. I'm going to show you the rest of my building. My building is over 100 years old, and I hold music stuff here. So I'm going to let you have a peek down there. So it's a big building where we have music. And then
this is really mission
to
control.
Yeah. And then in addition to that, I have another little office downstairs that I write in, and there's a little kitchen, and there's 2 restrooms because, you know, there's men and women who come. All right, I'm gonna see if I can get back to the other one now. I see you, but let's see.
So this is Janie's building, guys, and it's commute to it. It's in Covington, Texas, which is about what 90 minutes from your home, or 70 minutes, something like that. She's trying to get her volume back, her sound back.
Sorry, I turned my mic. I muted.
Okay.
It's 66 miles. 66 miles away. It takes me an hour to get here, so I generally spend the night once or twice a week. My husband goes to bed early, so it doesn't matter. So I have a little bed down there in my other office, and I love it here.
And on every Saturday night, you have live music that you put on, and you have guests.
No, the second Saturday of every month, and then sometimes on the 4th Saturday.
Okay.
So I've also held SCBWI events here. I've hosted those, and we had Ben Clanton come out, and that was a lot of fun. And then I have little writers' dates and stuff, and so yeah, it's good. It's a lot of fun. So,
that is great.
Okay.
That is great. Okay. Yeah. So if anybody lives in Texas and you want to come out and see Janee play, maybe we'll run into each other out there. It was Christian Robinson, not Christopher Robinson. The chat.
I thought because that sounds too much like I thought that sounded too much like the Winnie the Pooh. Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they corrected it. So.
All right. Well, good. Thank you. Because I hate to get that wrong. Okay, I'm looking for my notes. I accidentally closed my notebook. So while we're doing that, I'll go and start sharing.
Okay.
And make it over to the folder. All right. You let me know when you see that we're in the folder.
We're there, Janee.
Okay. Let's open door number 1. And now let me just explain. The reason I chose the ones I chose to talk about is because they addressed some element of what I just talked about with the slides. So they're not randomly chosen, and they're not chosen based on how much I like them or anything like that. It's because they spoke about. Okay.
Great. Yes.
So the first one.
So if we don't get to this is how we do things so we can get everything into the workshop. It's a timing issue. We may not get to all the sketches tonight. Janee selected some of them, and hang on to those sketches. We'll have a chance to look at them again down the road. Make sure everybody gets some feedback on their sketches, because everyone did a great job getting work in this time, as you usually do. But this was some real nice original stuff. So
these are great, and I see another one on there I hadn't seen yet. It must have come in later than I. And
yeah, we made a few exceptions for some people
because it really. Well, I might have to go pick on it just because show it because it definitely answers it. So each group, you same text to illustrate, and you had the same art direction as far as it being a spread and whatever size you wanted and it being a sketch. But you each were given a different objective. Group 1's objective was to show the emotion. Group 2's objective was to show something not what the text said at all. You know, make that narrator a big fat liar and make us laugh. The third one was, so group 3's was to show action. So, right, isn't that right? Group 1 wasn't yours emotion? Mark, are they saying yes?
I'm yeah, let me see. I was going to read the brief again.
I can look at it right here. I can look at it right here. It'll open. Okay. Yeah. Make us feel what Cinderella's feeling. Show us the emotions. So, okay. Let me get back to the one. The first one I was going to talk about. I'm going to have to back up a little bit here. Okay. It's on its way. Is the Cinder Elephant spread. This one. This one shows some great implied line. Remember I was talking about when I say line, I don't just mean a drawn line or even a physical object. If you look at the white space here, the little path that's in here, that in itself is a line. Even though she didn't draw it as a line, that is a line, and it definitely leads our eye from the upper left hand of the page down to the bottom and up off the page onto the right. We're definitely being drawn. So that is great. This is a great setting. I love the details. I personally would like to see it have a little more room for the type. The type is so cramped and so not important on the page that it gets lost. So I would leave a little more room for the type and make the type more important, okay? Watch your perspective a little bit. I see the Cinderella in the back is much larger looking than this one who's going off to the right, although the one in the right is down farther, so she's actually more into the front. So just watch your perspective. That's just something you need to do with all illustrations. This is a great example too of where we could show rather than tell. Like we could totally leave off the words. Now she changed it from house to tent, but we could leave off around the house now. You know, when I was just writing the line, I didn't have any illustrations in front of me. And so you wouldn't have known where to go. So this way we could just say, poor Cinderella had to do everything. You know, we don't even need that because if you happen to be a writer, a picture book writer too, as well as an illustrator, that's something you want to do. You want to find places where you can show it in the illustration rather than put it in the text. Okay. And there was one other thing. And I'm seeing it, it's so small, but there's a little mop over here by the broom, by the lowest Cinderella, and it's touching a line on the cannon, and I just see several of them like that, like where they're touching, something's touching the edge of the page up here, and just watch for that because it does draw your eye. Here, see this where we have this line with the dress dummy and the sewing machine? If we move that over just a little bit, move the dress dummy over either to the right or the left, it buries it, and it lets your eye move better, and it doesn't become just one element. So that in itself created a tangent. So so that's just something to watch for. But really good use of the space and really good movement here. I really thought that was good. Okay, the next one is I'm looking for Sandy Sonky. Okay, I just want to say this illustration. I mean, this is high quality sketch ready to present. Okay. Great use of space. The chair is a little close to the edge. It kind of draws your eye there, and if they crop that wrong, it could crop it right on a tangent. Try overlapping some things. There's not a lot of things overlapping here. This is overlapping. Cinderella's overlapping the window, but this is separate. This is separate. This is separate. This is this. Everything is separate, and it really does help give a sense of action. If things overlap, you get the depth because things are in front of each other. So that's just something to watch for. I love the foreshadowing of the castle through the window. I think that's just great, and that's a great example of the illustrator telling part of the story, and it's not even a part that's come up yet in the text. Love it. Love the cat. The cat, same way. The cat is telling more of the story. We've got the, I'm assuming, stepsisters, or the wicked stepsister and the queen here, and then the cat just seems to be one of them. And her snooty little look is just perfect. I think that's great. And because this one, whereas in the last one we saw, it was very detailed. It was very full, and that told a lot about the setting and where Cinder Elephant was. In this one, in its very cleanness, it's very minimalism as far as what's on there. It makes it very readable. It's your eye knows exactly where to go. See this room we have for all the text. That's fantastic. The only thing I might change, I might overlap a few things, and I might have these pictures not all in a direct line. You know, maybe vary them just a little bit so that's not just a straight line. But this is presentable. I mean, you could send this to an art director, and they would never, you know, they'd just say, excellent, you know, this is ready to go. Okay. The next one, I saw it back here. Nancy heard. Okay. This is an excellent use of type. This is such a good job of making the type an element in the story and making and pacing us. Poor Cinderella had to do everything around the house. I mean, it moves us through. It's pacing us. It also shows the emotion, which was the goal here. I would watch the gutters. It looks to me like the gutter is right here, and so it's going to take the faucet away from the sink. And normally you'd think, well, that's not important, but it kind of is to this scene. So like if the sink was moved over just a little bit and the gutter hit like over here a little more, I think it would be better on that. Great movement. This picture tilting, the curtains being blown off to the sound, that is showing great movement there. I probably would have tilted the mop myself. That's just me. And I probably wouldn't have labeled the trash can, because you don't need to do that. It's a trash can. It speaks as a trash can the minute you see it. So you don't need that label on there. Good overlapping. That's good. Maybe a couple of tangents, a couple straight lines here that you might want to vary up, but really, really good movement. Don't be afraid to bleed things off the page. Just let them, like if that trash can were over here and you only saw part of it, or if that cord was off the page, if this mop was tilted at an angle and you didn't see all of it, it makes it more interesting. It makes it less static. It adds to all this great movement you've got going on with the bubbles and the drapes and everything. Good job. Okay, the next one, and let's see, in Banker. There it is. Okay, let's wait till it comes up. So, I think it's coming up. It's spinning.
It says it's promising to come up. Yeah.
It's trying.
Yeah.
Do you think I should?
You could try refreshing. You could refresh. Oh, there it. We're seeing it.
It's
up.
Okay. This one is this is an excellent use of time. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, let me see. This is a good use of the. I went to the wrong one. Sorry. This is an excellent use of line. That line that really leads us from one point to the next. So we get to. It's taking us on Cinderella's little journey of all her work she has to do, and that is a really good use of the line. It's also, I like the way you broke the text up. But I don't like the way you added text because you don't get that option when you're illustrating. You can't just add text. You know, if you've been given an assignment, you can't do that. And the other thing is, it's unnecessary because you've shown that in the illustration. She's smiling, she's dancing, she's whistling, she's skipping along. You can see in her very body language that she doesn't mind, that she's happy doing what she does. So not only did you add text that you shouldn't do, but you didn't need it. You did your job as an illustrator and put it in the illustrations. So don't do that. You don't need that. You did it. You did it in the illustrations. It's obvious that she's happy. That emotion comes across perfectly. And I love that you showed her from the back. Very few people do that, and sometimes I think you need it, and I just think that's brave and bold, and that's good. I love that you did that. Okay, I think we're going to move on to door number 2. Oh wait, but before I do that, I saw one that came up. Let me just refresh, so it'll take me back. I want to see one more in this one that I didn't see before. If it'll load, go back to door number 1 for just. Okay, we're in door number 1. Let's see. Of course, now I don't see it. Oh, maybe it was in the. I don't see it now, Mark. Okay, we'll just move on to door number 2.
Who it was? Oh, okay. Okay. And you're going to look outside.
I had seen. Yeah, I'm going to go back. Maybe it was out there. Let's see. Nope, it's not there either. Okay, well, we'll move on to door number 2. Now, remember, this was the creative brief that said, you know, make me laugh, make it not what the text says. The first one we did was Rachel. Okay. Okay. I love that you made this modern, and I saw someone else had done that too. I think I think it's very cool that you made it relatable to today's kids with the phone and the buttons and the automation, and I think I love that. Okay. And you did make me laugh. I did laugh when I saw it. I did laugh. I think you could add even more humor here, like if she has this frenzied, overworked look while she's pushing the buttons. You know, I think that you could just you could up the humor here. I think I would try to find a way to add a little more movement going on, because everything is looking kind of like just still and straight and linear. Like if the curtains were blowing in, or I have bubbles floating out of the sink, or even if like you know, you saw that the folding machine like in the air in mid fold, so like a shirt is moving, so you see some draping. Everything's very straight lined and linear, and that doesn't help us much with movement. I just would like to see more movement here. But I really like that. Also, this would be a hard thing to show this text with that wire behind it. Like you could even show some movement there and get it out of the way of the text. So, but the text, you did leave room for the text, so that's good. Okay, now we're looking for Cindy. There we go, Cindy Jolie. Let's let this out. Is that Jolie? Cindy Jolie?
Jolly.
Okay, Cindy Jolie. Okay, I love that it's a fairy tale mashup. I think that's hilarious. I think that's so funny. And I love that the title of her book is "Living the Fairy Tale Life." That did crack me up. And you did the opposite. She's obviously got her legs propped up, enjoying her cake and her tea, while everybody else is doing the work, including, and I love this, the dragon heating up the teapot.
Oh, this is making us laugh.
Contained. It's very contained, Cindy. It's very contained. Let's get some stuff cropped off the page, because you see how everything is within this like 1/8 of an inch border to the edge of the page. Do some cropping. It's also, and I know I said you could do whatever size you want, but it's a very unusual double page spread. If you stick a gutter in here, boy, that's a very tall book. So
yeah.
Just thinking that, but this did make me giggle, and maybe giggle a lot. Yeah. Bleed and crop a little is what I have written down. Okay.
Hey, Janee, when you say bleed and crop, to me that sort of says, is that saying the same thing a little bit? Things are going off the page.
It is, but what I kind of meant on the crop was kind of crop this page down because it's too tall.
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, bleed. Move this guy over here. Yeah, move this.
Push
anything. Yeah, it's the same thing.
All the way to the edge and beyond. Okay.
I was in a hurry, Mom. Okay, now we're looking for, and I did little quick notes, so I'm not. Okay, here, this one. This is one. Okay, cute mice. I love they're kind of telling an extra little bit of the story. They're not in the text. You're telling a different story. That's great. It's an interesting perspective. You didn't go with just a generic perspective. Where's your text? Deb, we have no text. And I don't actually see a really good place for it. I mean, it could be here. It's just something that's kind of trapped over here and doesn't relate to the picture. So I don't think you left good room for it. And I'm not sure, this bit seems so empty. Like maybe if some dishes piled up here, that could kind of help bring the scene through there, because it kind of looks like it's chopped off. Yeah, I put upper right seems bare for no reason, so something there, and leave room for the text. But you added some cute humor in here, and her little magic wand, and the book, how to succeed at anything. Those kind of things, like this book, and then the Living the Fairy Tale Life. Those are great things for the parents reading the book. Okay, the next one we looked at was this one, Poor Cinderella. Okay, I thought that that the fact that you had this minimal was good. Again, I don't see any type, but I do see room for it at least. I was kind of comparing and contrasting this one to the last one, that while I don't see the type, I see where it goes, and an art director would see where it goes, and I think you brought in some emotion in here, and you did do what it says. Okay, let me go to the next one. Okay, this one. This is an excellent page layout, and I really love the details. I love that the type has such a nice prominent place, and it kind of just fits in there so beautifully. It feels a part of it. I love the details, the bird, the little behind of the mouse wearing his little goggles. These are such great details. I was thinking to myself, just as a suggestion possibly, or something to think about. Oh, and look at him he's skating on the sponges. If Cinderella what if she were just dead asleep, like kind of drooling maybe, that would up the humor. If it's like she's just like, she has to do everything while she's doing is sleep. So anyway, I thought that that could up the humor. Okay, we're going to move on to Group number 3. Let's see. I think I just refresh and it'll take me back. I'm sorry I'm running over my time, y'all.
Oh, you're doing great, Janee, just great. And will you
I'm
have time to take
oh
no, this is wonderful. We're getting so much out of it. Will you have time for a few questions tacked on at the end?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
great.
here. I'm staying the night. No, I have. Okay, let's see. I need
You're going to sleep there tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad your air conditioner's working. I'm glad they got it fixed.
Yeah. Oh my. Okay. Okay. This is. I thought there was an extra one in here.
Let's see. Go back to the folder itself. Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. Let me click this.
You want to try door number 1 again?
But there was I have 2 for door number 3, and I only saw 1 in there just now. Let me refresh it. There's more. There we go.
Refresh.
Okay.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Yeah. So this was one of them. This was about.
Okay.
Okay. This is great movement and great use. There's because this one was all about action. That's what the creative brief was, the objective. Not only do we have the action of the line, but every single one of these vignettes has action going on. And it doesn't just look like a snapshot action. It looks like it's happening right now. I mean, she's chasing those geese. They look as if they're
enlarge that one a little bit?
Water.
Can you pull it up?
How do you do that?
Let's,
How do you?
Why don't you just hit Control P or something like that and see if you can bring it up, or move your mouse wheel. You may not be able to. I don't know, Matt.
I don't.
Equipment. Guess not.
I'm on a PC. I'm on a PC, so yeah, I don't see any enlarging.
Control P.
But there's now that's print. Control P is print.
Control plus, I meant to say. Control plus.
Okay, let me try that.
See if that helps.
Good.
You can do it again.
Did a little bit. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Well, no, that's all it would go. I did it 3 times. That's all it would go.
That's right. The magic number 3.
And see, we see this. That's right. And we see her sweeping her. I mean, you see this movement of her dress. This whole line is just beautifully completes this curve. It's like you've seen decoration where it's like it goes into like the little curve. Can you see my mouse, by the way, my arrow?
Yeah, I can. You can?
Okay. Yeah, see, like it just, you see that line. I mean, you see it even where it's not drawn because of the way her skirt is. This just has excellent movement. There's no type. Because I know it doesn't go here because that's the gutter. So it can't go there. Maybe it's supposed to go there. That's awfully close to the edge. So I don't think we left room for type, but other than that, this has it going on.
This has that varying point of view, almost a bird's eye, kind of, I don't know, what, 3/4 up or something like that, looking down. It's so eloquent.
The camera angle is different. It's just, yeah, it's really well done here. Okay, there's one other that I wanted to look at in this group. Sorry, I'm coughing.
Be thinking of your questions for Janee, guys.
Good.
So we can move right into them.
I thought this one had a great concept to do the list behind it. I felt like that was a really strong concept. I am going to tell you, it needs to be a little tighter. Or you would submit this, it would need to be tighter. But it is a great concept to put the to-do list behind. But there's no room for type. So, but I do see the action. I do see the movement. So I just wanted to talk about that one too. And then I have one Oh, I know which one this was. I had added one. I think it wasn't in the, let's see. Let me see if this will take me back. It must be in the empty parts that weren't in the, yeah, this one. I'm assuming this goes with, it should be in folder 1. The emotion in here is so evident. I mean, this isn't even a tight sketch. This is a loosey-goosey sketch, and I feel the emotion. I feel it. I feel what she's feeling, and the darkness of the sketch lines, it really comes across. So I just wanted to say that this one really met the objectives, because the emotion just
yeah,
really, really hits you.
She has us feeling the light source too, doesn't she, with her little hints of shading?
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, so I felt that really answered the challenge. Okay, let me come back. Okay, how do I do this now? Stop sharing. Stop sharing.
There you are.
And then I have to come back and find you.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see you yet. Ah, there you are.
I'm around. That was so wonderful. That was wonderful, Janee. Such a great lesson. Guys, you want to fire some questions at her while we have her? It's not every day you get to hear a lesson like this from a terrific teacher, as well as an extremely talented artist, illustrator, an all-around fun person.
Well, thanks.
I'm going to look at the screen here. See if we got some people with some questions. You can ask her about some of the things from her presentation. We have one of our guests here today. Janee is watching us from Spain. Jorge.
Wow! Wow!
Yeah. And we've got Cindy Wider with us from Australia. She's a drawing teacher, renowned drawing teacher, and many of our longtime friends.
Hi, y'all.
Hi, y'all. Guys, I'm going to give you 90 seconds to hurl some questions at Janee, and if she said it all and you don't have any more questions for her, why don't you type your thank yous into the chat box?
I see they like.
Huh? Do you see some questions? Let me see. Let me scroll up here.
No, I saw thank you.
They're coming in. Yeah, they're coming in. Okay.
And I didn't know how this assignment in this setting, because I've only done this in workshops where I've actually been present, but I think it worked pretty well. I hope nobody peeked.
I hope nobody peeked, but everybody sure got into the spirit of the assignment, which was really fun. And I agree. They're coming in. They're saying great assignment. Loved all the terrific fun stuff people turned in. And Janie's comments, Diane says, and Monette says, I love how we didn't know what direction to take until we opened the door. So Monette didn't peek. Cindy says, thank you so much.
I'm reading them, Mark.
Okay. All right. Great. And I'll make a copy of this. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
They're going on. Janee, your new book is Mimi and Bear Make a Friend.
Okay.
And we're going to put the order page link out in the follow-up email. That's and I know we didn't hit everybody's sketch tonight.
Hold on one second, Mark. Somebody asked, what do you think of using color instead of using lines at all? I think that's fine. I didn't actually use lines in my Mimi books. I think that's fantastic to do. It works just the same. When I say line, as I said, it may not be a drawn line. It might just be implied, or it might be an object.
Okay. Yeah. Good point. Your whiteboard, does
Diane peeked.
Diane says what?
You peeked at the assignments.
Oh, she peeked.
She peeked
I wouldn't
at the
have
other
admitted
ones.
it, Diane. I would. God, we have such an honest group here. The big whiteboard that you've been using for years to brainstorm your taking over the world. Do you work on gummies and story projects on that whiteboard, or is it for other kinds of planning and strategizing? Do you recommend we all get whiteboards?
I mean, even if you look around here, I have 2 different whiteboards just in this little space because I have one where I'm working on a graphic novel, and so every time I think of something, I walk around here and I think of something, I write it down, and I have one over here with just project ideas, and I have one downstairs where I keep project notes, and then I have one at home that's 8 feet by 4 feet tall, and it weighs over. And it's also magnetic, so it holds everything.
Oh my goodness! So every time you get an idea, you got to run to the whiteboard. You drop everything, run to the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your notebook.
Laura says, how do you retain the freshness when trying to tighten up the piece? And it is hard. I mean, it really is hard. And I know, I don't know if you're familiar with my friend Patty Barton. She is excellent at that. Now, she works digitally, and you should look up her work. She's also done at least 2 books where there's barely any words. So she did a lot of the writing through the illustrations. So that's a really good one to look at.
And Patty will she'll draw something 1,000,000 times on tracing paper trying to capture the freshness.
She will.
She's tireless. Yeah. Excuse me, Jane.
She will, but that's okay. You actually will see her sketch behind her work. You can see it in there. So she just works right on it. So Cindy Wilder says, Janee, how many books do you illustrate in a year on average? It's varies so much that one year I had 6 books due in 6 months. And then this year I haven't had one at all. So I'm working on 3 or 4, but they haven't sold yet. So
well,
it depends. It just varies.
Your work
I've had 7 books due
at one time.
In 1 year, yeah. And I had 6 books due in a 6-month period. And in that 6-month period, my father got cancer, and my sister got cancer, and my husband already had cancer. So it was like very stressful.
Yeah.
Very stressful.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone here can relate. Well, not completely, but can relate to what you're talking about. It's hard. It's hard to push it a lot of times. Yeah. Your work is so beautiful.
Laura also wants to know what my typical work day looks like. And that is as varied as how many books I do a year, because there are days where I just don't have it going on. And I don't have it. I just can't do it. And then there's other days where it's like other times where I'm just working, I get in the zone, and I'll just work for 2 days straight, and I won't bathe or anything. I won't sleep. I won't bathe.
Yeah.
I will eat. But it just
and you'll play the mandolin.
And I'll play the mandolin sometimes. Do what, Mark?
I had a question, but then it fled away. I started thinking about you and your mandolin, and it got away from me. Do you recommend? This is it. This is what I was going to say. Do you recommend that all aspiring illustrators go to puppet making boot camp at Purdue? That's a tongue-in-cheek question. How did it contribute?
If you want to up your marketing game, learn. My first book I wrote and illustrated, it had 25 words, and I went on a book tour with a bunch of other people from my home area, and I was stuck between Willie Welch, who played the guitar and sang, and Diane Roberts, who did a puppet show. And all I did was read my 25 little words. So I learned, I started doing it. And I'll tell you something else. If you have to fill out an author questionnaire, nothing in the world will make you feel so dull and boring as filling out an author questionnaire. And it'll make you do stuff. It'll make you go to puppet boot camp and become a board member at your library. You'll start doing it just so you have something to write about.
That is great. What great advice. Yes, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's like being next to the.
Deb,
it's like going to the Texas.
Deb asked. Go ahead.
What did Deb ask?
Deb is asking how I found my agent. The Verliquet Blue Boards, now they're part of the SCBWI thing. You can get to the Blue Boards from there. And there was a private board that was all about agents. And I looked on there. I went and what I did was I kind of looked at Publishers Marketplace to see who agented what kind of works. Like if there was a book that was sold, read the description to see if it kind of fit my kind of work and what I wanted to do. I already had an illustration rep, and she had sold a couple. She sold my first 2 books, but I knew I needed a literary agent, and I wrote to a few, and I had a little chart that I had ones that I felt fit with me, and if I heard back from them as a no, I drew a line from it, and if they never wrote back, but they said if you didn't hear from us in this amount of time, I put a little squiggly line. And actually, my agent, Janee, I had put a little squiggly line because they'd said, if you don't hear from us in 2 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever, it's a no, and I hadn't. And then it was, like 2 weeks after that she called me. And it was very, very, very exciting. I sent, just so you'll know, when you're doing picture books, it's not like a novel. You can't just send one, when you're looking for an agent. So what I did was I sent an email that had one work in it, because that's what they said, one picture book. I think it was just a manuscript or a dummy. I can't remember. And then I did a link to 4 more that was a private password protected link on my website. And so she looked at those and she called me, and then she said, what else do you have to show me? So then I showed her 7 more things. Anyway, in total, 11 things I showed her. So you want to make sure, if you a literary agent to represent you for picture books, that you have a body of work, because picture book agents don't just represent works. They represent your career. They represent you as an illustrator or as an author. And an illustration rep, you want to make sure your portfolio is ready to go. Now, when I got my illustration rep, before I moved over to a literary agent, I sent an online portfolio. I sent a link to my website, basically. And I got a few rejections. One thing I did, which is going to sound totally stupid probably, but I took a screenshot of different agents, different artist reps, thumbnails of all their artists, and I plopped my work, a piece of my work over that to see how I fit within the stable of artists. Because if you look at a rep and they have all realistic work, they're not going to want to see your little whimsical stuff. They obviously have a client base and what they're looking for. So
yeah,
I got published. Deb asked did I get published. If I got published before I got my agent, I got published in children's in illustration before I got my agent, before I got my rep, and then I got my illustration rep, and then I got actual books, and she sold 2 of my books, and then I switched over to my literary agent. I have never sold anything on my own except some illustration work through postcards, and Chris Schechner, actually, y'all talked to him last month, I guess. He gave me my first job in children's illustration. I met him at an SCBWI meeting. So
yeah, he gave me my first color illustration.
So,
wow.
Yeah,
really, really interesting.
And Carol,
when you were,
yes, you should learn to play the ukulele. I'm telling Carol, yes, she should learn to play the ukulele. Start working on it now.
Yeah, I'll never forget the time I was at TLA conference in it might have been San Antonio, or I forget what city it was in, but I was there with my book out, my nonfiction book that I'd worked for 3 years on, researching, writing, interviewing, and illustrating with line art. And the guy next to me was an author, sort of an author. He called himself an author. He had some self-published books out, and he had a trained blue heeler, a brilliant cow dog doing tricks. And everybody was watching the tricks and nobody was paying any attention to me. And I sort of had the same epiphany you did. I need to start training animals and bring an animal act with me to every library conference from now on. It's the only, you feel smaller than life. It's the strangest, most punishing feeling in the world. So I think many of us can relate to that. That's so funny, Janee. Great. So when you say 11 things, when you showed her 11 things, by things, you mean complete dummies or stories near completion?
Manuscript. It was either, I think there were 4 complete dummies and 7 manuscripts.
Yeah. Okay. A combination, but it's just a body of work, of stories in various stages of
stuff ready to go, and very importantly, stuff that I hadn't tried to send out on my own. Because one thing you want to be careful about is you want to be careful that you haven't already exhausted the market, because then your agent can't go back out there to the same people with the same book and say, they're going, I just turned that down 2 months ago, so you want it to be fresh. Carol says,
good point. Great point.
With carrying picture books, do you write? I don't. Now, my agent will ask me, Carol, what do I see as comp titles to my book? But she kind of handles most of that, because I don't do any querying anymore. I really only ever queried agents. I never queried any books. I learned my lesson when I very first started. The reason I decided to try writing was because I took a class. I wanted to learn to pace my illustrations better. And then I got in there and thought, well, I can do this. I can do this. So I wrote a 64 stanza picture book. Single line rhymed with ooh. And I sent it to an agent. And I'm so embarrassed. I cringe to think of it now, that I was so clueless. So then I took a workshop and I learned just how little I knew. So I took Anastasia. I took Anastasia Soon's intensive picture book workshop, and it was like the most important thing I learned was that I didn't know anything. So
yeah, that's what workshops are for. Is Anastasia still teaching up there in the Dallas area?
She still has the classes, like self-paced classes. I don't know that she does workshop anymore, like live or real time, but she does. They are available online. And the most important thing really about those workshops was I took 5 of her workshops, and every single one of them I had to read 100 picture books. That's the key.
Yeah. So you've read 500 picture books before you sat down to write your next one. Janee, I have one question about your drawing process. You like to work with digitally, because you told me you like to move things around, and your illustrations, your spreads, your covers, they do have this wonderful sense of placement. Everything feels like it's just in the most charming right spot it can be. Is that a very deliberate process and for you? And do you really work that? And can you talk about that?
I really do. And I still doing that. I mean, I will, you saw my blob sketches. Well, my thumbnails were even worse than that. I mean, they're just little blobs, but I'm moving stuff around in there because, as I said, even the text to me is an important element on the page. So I want everything to fit together. And let's see, I don't think I have a Chickies book right here. Let me see if Mimi, I didn't get as much leeway on the text as I did with let me see if I have. I don't think I have a Chickies book up here. Dang it. I'm very careful when I'm placing things like 2 spreads in a row where the text is on the bottom of each page. You know, I like to move it around. I like to make your eye move. I want your eye to move everywhere through there. And so I'm very careful. I look for tangents. I look for where I can overlap things. I look for value. I don't want things of the same value, you know, right up against each other. I want things to be very legible. I want the pictures to be as readable as I want my text to be.
Okay.
I will move them all over the page.
Wow. Yeah. Wonderful compass.
And well, thank you. And for the past 2 years, I've been using, I guess it's 2 years now, the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil.
Yeah.
And it just makes, I mean, it's wonderful. I can skip anywhere. I love it. You know, it just makes life easier.
And what drawing program are you using?
I didn't. On the iPad Pro, I'm using Procreate, and I normally still use Painter on the PC.
Okay.
I'm old school.
Like Patty does. Okay. Great. Okay, guys, we have time for one more question, if there is one, and then we're going to have to let Janee get to work. Any questions? This is your chance.
Janee needs a cup of tea.
Janee needs a cup of tea. She's been talking for a long time. Janee, that was a wonderful presentation. Fantabulous. We learned so much. We're so proud of you, and we're so excited about your new book out, and your Cinderella assignment was positively inspired. And we're gonna look at those sketches again, guys, down the road. So don't throw things away, and we'll leave them up in the folder. Also, I recommend that you go to the folder now that you've had a chance to hear Janee talk about them. Go back into the folder, look at each other's work. Look at each other's work and see if you can apply the lessons that Janee walked us through today to some of the other pieces, and including your own work and your own portfolio and sketchbook, because that was a world-class lesson on composition. Janee, you had a thought? Did you have another?
I'm writing. I'm answering a question. I'm typing.
Oh, you're typing a question. Well, speak it as you type it so we can all.
Carol said, Janee, when you're working with text design, do you make font choices and value and color choices of text? Yes, I do. And not only do I do that, not only do I choose my fonts and the color and the value and the placement, I don't have a Chickies book with me. On the Chickies, I hated the kerning on the font I had. I hand kerned that. They didn't do it when they actually printed it, and it made me go. But on mine were hand kerned. Everything was hand kerned. So
oh my gosh,
don't know what that means. It's that's
letters. The spacing between letters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you had to do it.
And I messed with the
manually, like a sign painter, manual sign painter.
Yeah, I just adjusted everything. Yeah, I'm obsessive with it. So.
Okay, that shows you. That shows you. Great. Well, Janee, stay on with me for just a second, but I'm going to end the broadcast. Thanks everybody for being with us tonight. It was you all turned in some great work, and go say hi to Janee on Facebook or social media if you can, and maybe you'll run into her at a conference, upcoming conference. If you live in the Dallas area, go to her book signings, and yeah, she's a good one.
I'm gonna be on a panel. I'm going to be on a panel with my agent and with Selena Unit, the Dallas September conference. So
the North Texas Regional SCBWI Dallas conference in September. Great. Okay. Well, we'll get the word out
about how we work together.
Okay. Great. Good. Again, thanks everybody for coming on, and we will be in touch with your next assignments, and we'll say goodnight. Let Janee get a cup of tea. Okay. Bye.